All right, so you may have noticed this is peak season in Houston for love bugs to swarm. Like your little kids are going, Mommy, what are they doing? Well, nature is full of love stories this time of year, and so is our first guest. She says rom-coms are more than just fun escapism. They can actually be healing. They make us laugh, swoon, and hope things can work out after all. New York Times bestselling author Katherine Center has built a career writing hopeful, heartfelt stories. Some have been adapted into films. Her latest book, The Shippers, may be her most fun novel yet, and she's here to take us on board. Good morning.
Hi.
Or should I say, good morning, Katherine Panel Center. Your entire name.
That's a long name.
Yeah. You were saying that last name, maiden name of Panel. Which is the reason why you were glad to take the name Center.
Center's better. It's an upgrade for sure.
All right. Your uncle had a bookstore. I'm going to remind people of who you are and how you got there, because it's almost like your whole childhood was a resume for what you do. Your uncle had a bookstore. Speak to the importance of access to books, not only an assignment in school, but access to books on your own.
Well, figuring out what you love to read is the way to kind of calibrate your own compass about what stories you need to hear. I think stories are incredibly healing, have the potential to just bypass your head and go straight down into your heart, right? And help you work out questions in your life that are big questions about who you want to be in the world and how you want to face all the difficulties. And that kind of thing can lead you forward in your own life. So it's fiction, it's all made up, but when those stories resonate for you, they can make your life better.
Yeah. Every author I've spoken to, we've had lots of great authors on the show, including you, says there was a turning point from going from reading to actually writing. And oftentimes that turning point happened when a teacher said something to them.
Yeah. Well, for me, it was being a sixth grader and getting the brilliant idea to write fan fiction about the 1980s boy band Duran Duran.
Yeah.
Right? Because we were all very nerdy in my little friend group, and that was how we kind of made some joy for ourselves, was writing these incredibly fun stories. And on some level, I'm still kind of doing that today.
Yeah, you are doing that today. All right, and then you had your third grade teacher who said, if you use a word more than 3 times in a conversation, it was yours.
Yeah, that's true. I got very obsessed with the idea of collecting words, and I started reading through the dictionary and finding cool words and starting to work them into conversation.
Yeah. All right. You really were meant to do this. In third grade, okay, so I got a tape recorder, which I think back and I go, because I would go around interviewing people, and I got a tape recorder, so now it makes sense. You got, in third grade, a
typewriter.
A typewriter.
Yeah, a typewriter.
Typewriter, the old-fashioned.
And I typed out a full page of a story, and then I pulled it off, and I was like, now I'm a writer.
Yeah, there you go. As easy as that. Well, now you are a writer. How many books in total now?
13, I think.
13 books already. Oh my gosh. Okay, what's the hardest part of writing a book? I get this question. I don't know why people ask me, but I just pass it on to people like you. They go, Miss Duncan, I'm trying to write a book. Well, how do I start? And I go, I talk, right? I'm not writing, right? Yeah.
I think for me, the hardest part is always just getting that first draft down on paper, figuring out what's going to happen. Where are they going to go? What are they going to do? Who are these people? Why does it matter, right? What's the big picture? What's the roller coaster shape of the story?
And figuring out what you want to write about, right? So rom-coms, your first rom-com, we shared this story before too, where it's like the first romance novel that I read, I was like, oh, I'm not supposed to have this book in my room. Right? But it was delicious and joyful and fun and made you feel good.
Yeah, for sure, 100%.
All right. In defense of romance, there are some people who just kind of toss it away and go, oh, that's not like a real book, right? You need some factual, historical, and those have their place. But what they do for us, like I just said, delicious, fun, exciting, make you feel good.
I could do a whole seminar on this topic. How many hours do we have?
Well, you almost did. You did the TEDx Ben talk. Yeah.
But yeah, it's what's great about romance is you have this guaranteed happily ever after waiting for you at the end. And that's not true of all genres, right? That's not true of, say, serial killer stories. But in romance, you've got a guaranteed happily ever after.
And so the serial killer falls in love with someone at the end.
You could combine the genres. But basically, it just gives you something to look forward to for 300 pages. You're just reading along, looking forward to this blissful thing that's going to happen at the end. And what that allows you to do is to feel uplifted.
Yeah. Every time someone says to me, I want to write a book, I say, tell me why you want to write the book. And sometimes people say, well, I think it'd be a great way to make money, or, I'll be famous or whatever. It's like you got to love it and enjoy it first. Yeah. And for you wrote your first book and you were done. It was an accomplishment, and then things started to happen. And And then more things start to happen when someone says, you know what, The Lost Husband, we think that needs to be a movie.
Yeah, that was glorious. Yeah, I've now had 2 movies made from my novels, and both of them were big successes on Netflix, which was incredible, and I'm so grateful. And now I actually have another book that's being turned into
The Bodyguard, of course,
Bodyguard.
but it's going to be a movie, but because there's already a Bodyguard, they changed the title, right?
The working title of the novel was actually You Can't Make This Up.
Oh.
And then when I turned in the book, my publishing team said, we want to call this The Bodyguard because it's about a woman bodyguard. Yeah. And I was like, but there's already a Whitney Houston movie called The Bodyguard. Yeah. And they were like, well, books and movies are different, it's fine. But now that the book is becoming a movie, we had to change the title because that's already an iconic movie. Yeah. You can't redo that. So so it's going to be called Guarding Stars. Yeah. And it's going to star Jared Padalecki and Leighton Meester from Gossip Girl, and it's got Andie MacDowell in it, and also Walker Hayes, the country music star Walker Hayes. Right. And I'm super excited about Jared Padalecki in particular because the character he is playing is a world-famous Texas actor, and Jared Padalecki himself is a world-famous Texas actor. He's from San Antonio and he lives in Austin.
Yeah, how exciting is that for you? Because there are times that you've been on the set, you've done cameo roles as well.
Yes, I've done cameos in the first 2 movies, and I got to visit the set for The Bodyguard. It's incredible. It was so fun to get to be a part of the excitement of all of these people. I mean, it's like 100 people, and they're all working together to bring this story to life and to turn it into something that's going to move people and get their attention and matter to them. And I work alone, right, most of the time. Like, I'm mostly just hanging out with my imaginary friends, right? Being a novelist is a very
in your head,
solo activity. But to be in this big group of people who all love stories and who are all just working to make it come alive, that was incredible.
With that said, okay, like when songwriters, like specifically just songwriters, hand their song over to the person who's really going to sing it, they always say they are interpreting it in a way that I didn't think. Yeah. And sometimes they let go of it and they say, like, you've made it better. And sometimes they go, oh, but wait, that note should probably go like this. What's it like to take what you wrote? Because as we know, books oftentimes look a little bit different when they're on screen.
100%.
You got to pare things down and whatever. What's it like to do that? And even picking the people who play, because you have in your head what you think all the characters look like. We all do, right? And then they cast people. Yeah. What is that process like for you?
Yeah, it's a little hard because it has to be different, right? A book is 350 pages and a movie is 90 pages of screenplay. So they got to shrink it down. They're basically making like a shrinky-dink out of your book. But, and it's going to be, altered in lots of ways because it is a group project instead of just a solo project. But the way that I think about it is that it's like just more versions of the book for us all to enjoy. There's the original, and that will never change. And then there's these other versions out there.
All right. So for that book, that ship has sailed. It's already in production.
It's in production.
But The Shippers is new. Tell us about The Shippers.
So The Shippers is my new book. Yeah, it comes out next week on Tuesday. It is about a woman from Houston who goes to her sister's destination wedding on a cruise ship.
Okay, I already see some drama.
That sails from Galveston out into the Gulf, and she convinces her childhood best friend, a guy named Cooper Watts, to be her wingman while she tries to pursue another guy. And it's a disaster, but it's a good disaster.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
A lot of shenanigans.
Something tells me Cooper is he's gonna go from wingman to in the pilot seat.
Cooper does all right.
Yeah, there he is right there. And then, I love that you have lots of like Houston references or Texas references in there, and you just kind of borrow from your own life. How do you establish characters, and how do you get an idea for a plot?
Oh my gosh. Well, I always want to make sure that whoever my characters are from the beginning have something about life that they need to learn. And then that's the reason the plot exists, is to push them to learn those things, right? To push them to re-examine their mistaken beliefs about who they are, who they need to be in the world. And so before I ever start, I need 2 people who have something they've got to learn, who are in a situation where they are pitted against each other in some dramatic, delicious
And the ideas
way.
can come from everywhere. You can be like in rush hour traffic and someone lets you in and go, So the handsome man drove up in his Porsche 911 and he let me in.
Yeah, I was on book tour a couple of years ago in the Atlanta airport, and I slipped on some spilled water and hit the ground and sprained my ankle. And this very nice man helped me up, and I was like, this could be the beginning of a rom-com.
It's the beginning of a rom-com, right? Okay, and I always want to end with, I always love your covers, and I hope you have all these framed somewhere in your house.
Yeah, I love the covers too. I especially love this one, and I especially love Cooper because I asked them to make him look like Prince Eric from The Little Mermaid.
Oh yeah, look at the hair kind of, yeah, this on his forehead right there.
And
okay.
I'm actually doing an event tonight at Blue Willow Bookshop, and we got a giant life-size cutout of Cooper. So if you want to get a picture with Cooper.
Okay, you can catch Katherine Center tonight, as she mentioned, at Memorial Drive Presbyterian Church. That's to talk about her latest book, The Shippers. To purchase tickets or a copy of the book, visit greatdayhouston.com, and we'll connect you. And of course, Blue Willow has always been great in supporting authors and stuff. So you're doing that in conjunction with them. But at the church is where people will go